So, serious question. I'm trying not to be too dramatic about it, but should I quit YouTube? What do you think? I mean, all good things must come to an end at some point, right? Is it time? I kind of hope not, but maybe. Let's take a look. Hi everyone, Paul Micallef here from Autism from the Inside. I make weekly videos sharing the human side of autism, so make sure you hit subscribe to get the latest content. Or at least I have been making weekly videos sharing the human side of autism. The question for this video is, should I keep doing that? It's kind of raw, just processing some thoughts out loud at the moment, but I'd be really curious to hear what you think at the end of this video. So for me personally, one of the most powerful words is the word enough. To me, it's a very calming, peaceful, validating word. There's always more I could do, but to hear the word enough, to feel the word enough, takes away a lot of the stress that I often put on myself. Every strength is a weakness, right? Well, my strength is in seeing potential. My brain is constantly looking for the gaps as to how to make things better. In fact, one of my 4 personal core values is literally continual improvement. But when does it stop? Does it ever stop? One of the things I've learned how to do over the years, or rather I've had to teach myself how to do over the years, is to essentially give up. I'm the kind of person who doesn't like giving up ever. They call people like me stubborn, or perhaps slightly more generously, persistent. However, I've learned that there are lots of times when objectively the best thing to do is to acknowledge that your strategy isn't working and to stop trying. To me, that feels like giving up, but I'll never forget what someone told me on a retreat once. Retreat, he said, entered English as a military term. It's not the same thing as surrender. We retreat, we withdraw, so that we can regroup, reset, re-engage. And in this sense, retreat is an essential strategic move. This comes up in my life coaching work all the time. If what you're doing isn't working, don't try again. Try something different. In fact, a big part of the coaching process is breaking out of those patterns and habits so that the new strategy is legitimately new and different and not just the same old strategy but wearing a slightly different hat. So everything has its time. What about YouTube? It was clearly very good for a long time. There was a huge need, and when I first started, there were hardly any actually autistic YouTubers or public figures at all for that matter. Even just 10 years ago, the world's concept of autism was still of a little boy rocking in the corner. We've come so far since then. There has been an absolute explosion of late identified autistic adults, thanks in no small part to more openly autistic public figures. These days, there are dozens of best-selling memoirs, probably thousands of autistic creators on YouTube and TikTok and other platforms. When I went looking for speakers for the 2025 Autistic Lived Experience Summit just gone earlier this year, I effortlessly found 25 highly qualified, openly autistic experts doing objectively fantastic paradigm-shifting work. And there were easily that number again of equally qualified people I didn't get around to. So what does that mean for me and this channel? Does the world still need this YouTube channel? Is it enough? Job well done, go home, take a break? Weirdly, the reason I'm asking myself this question is because the answer is clearly no. There's a lot more work to be done. But for the next phase, it's pretty clear that YouTube is not going to be enough. There's only so much value you can provide in a 10-minute video. To provide more value needs more time and more personalized attention. That's why I really love my life coaching work, for example. One-on-one, full-focused attention. It's personalized communication, not talking to 1,000 people in general, but talking to one person about what they think matters most in their life. But there's a trade-off, right? If I went 100% into life coaching, then sure, those clients would benefit greatly, but there's only so many hours in a day. I can see maybe a couple of hundred people in a year. What about the hundreds of thousands of others going through similar challenges? Without a way to speak more publicly, all those people would miss out. But can we do better than a 10-minute YouTube video? That's partly why over the last 2 years, I've been codifying my core frameworks into a book. A book can go a lot deeper and provide significantly more value than a 10-minute video, and still be very accessible to a large number of people. But where does YouTube fit into all that? What am I even doing here? Why am I still making videos at all? Interestingly, when I talk to Patreon supporters and AFTI community members, what you tell me you love the most is the depth of content. which kind of makes sense. I've always made an effort to take topics to the next level, to dig just that little bit deeper and get down to the core of why these issues are important to us. I can't help but think that maybe that's my life coaching training coming up, or maybe it's the other way and my propensity to do that led me to life coaching in the first place. But anyway, the point is that YouTube is not really set up to go deeper in that way. The algorithm really likes short, engaging, entertaining, entry-level content. The type that can be shown to millions of people who have only the vaguest interest in autism. Here's the catch though. Statistically, if I hadn't made relatively short, catchy, entry-level content, you probably would have never found me. And what's the point of making very high-quality, deep dive content if no one even sees it? Now, you might be thinking, what's the problem? Clearly, what you're doing is working. Why not just keep doing that? Well, there are a couple of factors that make that idea no longer viable. So I really like your thinking. It's worked in the past. Don't stress, just keep plugging away. Ordinarily, that would make sense, except there are some pretty serious global trends that cannot be ignored. Firstly, there has been a significant trend for years now for shorter, punchier, more entertaining content. This has always been the case, but it's significantly more than it used to be. This means that to keep doing what I'm doing is costing more and more and more energy with fewer and fewer returns. And I do have some ideas as to how to overcome this, which I'll share later. Essentially, I think I need to find a partner, for lack of a better word, who can handle that entire side of things. But like I said, I'll come back to that. The main thing to note is I'm not a natural storyteller entertainer. I like to go deep into the content, and it can be easy to forget about how others are seeing what I'm making. Even now, as I'm sharing my thoughts, it's very difficult to stop that and change gears in my brain to start trying to figure out how might other people be perceiving this at the moment and what might they think of it. Who is even watching this video at the moment? Is it just some random person on the internet who's never seen me before? Is it a loyal channel follower who's watched every single one of my videos? I don't know. And the answer to that question of how is it likely to be perceived changes dramatically depending on which cohort or which person I'm trying to imagine. So that entire arm of the deal of making YouTube videos has always been a barrier, always been a massive challenge for me to shift gears like that. But globally, as the whole world is becoming more overloaded, approaching complete information saturation with less and less available attention every day, those holes in my skill set are becoming more and more of a problem every day. This has been a massive trend across a lot of YouTube channels. Subscribers have plateaued, average views have plummeted to a 5-year low. This has been a trend for a long time. It's not surprising, and it really doesn't have all that much to do with me. It's mostly the state of the world that's leading a lot of people to be very stressed and not have all that much spare attention. To give you just one example, 2/3 of viewers are from the US, and you're having a rough time right now. So point one, global trends. The second one is a little bit more personal. My brain likes to do one thing at a time, which means that transition time is the #1 killer of productivity. Let me give you an example. In 2018, I wrote my first online course, EQ 101, Master Your Emotional Intelligence. It's a fantastic course. I really love it. I still run it, but that was 7 years ago. How have I not done any more since? The answer is distracted attention. I just haven't had the bandwidth to slow down and create really quality long-form stuff, like another course or my book. I just ran a 3-hour online unmasking workshop last week, which is fantastic. It's able to deliver significantly more value than just a YouTube video. But why is it 12 to 18 months between events? Again, the answer is because to run that kind of thing, I need to slow down, have more time, and be able to focus the attention. And a weekly YouTube schedule makes it very difficult to do that. Part of me imagines how productive I could be, how many books I could write, how many courses I could create, how much more one-on-one attention I could give. I haven't taken on a new coaching client in over 6 months because I had to cut back to try and get my book finished. Whereas actually, one of the biggest barriers getting in the way is this comparatively small weekly commitment. It's not the work itself, it's the transition time to get my brain into gear. What I've noticed is that the longer I spend on something, the higher the quality of result. Which means if I'm trying to do too many things like write a book and do coaching and do a YouTube channel and run a summit event, then either things get dropped entirely or it feels like they all suffer. And maybe you're thinking, no, but the quality is fine, or, don't worry about the quality so much. But I see the potential. I know how much better it could be. If you're one of those people that's wanting that depth, it really feels like we're just scratching the surface a lot of the time, especially trying to put things in a 10 to 15 minute format. And so I've been seriously playing with the idea of what is the role of YouTube? Should I keep doing weekly videos? I normally take a bit of a break over the new year. And so since it's already November, I've been toying with the idea of what if I just took a longer break and stopped making videos now and had an extra 4 or 6 weeks to focus on getting my book finished. The only problem is that's not a long-term solution. Will I pick up the channel again in February and give it the time and attention it deserves? How does that help anything in the long run? Fortunately, I do have an idea that I think might work. I alluded to this briefly earlier, but I've decided I need some kind of business partner or similar. Someone with complementary skill sets to mine so that we can work together and I can focus on what I'm good at without having to sacrifice all the other aspects. The sheer reach of this channel has been unbelievable. The community that has already been built is amazing. Currently, it all relies on me, and it would be a massive shame if it all crumbled just because I don't have the bandwidth to maintain it. I know a lot of you are very passionate about this channel and this community. There must be someone out there who shares this vision and also has the right complementary skill set. Really, big picture, this is just the beginning. The whole autism self-advocacy movement has really gained traction maybe in the last 5 years. But if we're going to enter phase 2, I need your help. Not just a little bit of help. I mean, like finding a partner to help with everything kind of help. If this is just my personal project, I kind of feel like we're already hitting the limit of what it can become. I would like to keep doing YouTube, ideally weekly, but maybe a lesser frequency if necessary. I would like to maintain and even grow our online AFTI membership community. There's so much potential there that's really just getting off the ground. But I've realized that scattering my attention like I have been over the last 5 years is just not sustainable. I see every day from working with my coaching clients how powerful and life-changing this work can be. So I hope you can help me find a way to keep it going so this really can just be the beginning. My top idea at the moment is to find a business partner with a complementary skill set. Actually, can we find a better name than that? I don't like the term business partner. That doesn't quite have the right ring to it. Except that's not in my skill set either. So if you have a better name, I'd like to hear it. That would be very helpful. That's exactly the kind of thing I need someone to help with on a regular basis so that I don't have to spend my time and energy completely transitioning. We're talking days and days worth of transition time to try and do something simple like let's come up with a better name than just business partner. Anyway, so after all that, what do you think? Should I quit YouTube? Does the world really still need this channel? If I am staying, why? What is it that still needs doing? What is the unique contribution that I'm trying to make here? Or that you really appreciate here that you haven't found elsewhere? Anyway, I'd better leave it there. Thanks for listening. I would usually say, I hope you found this valuable or something like that, but I guess today was a bit different. So thanks again. Looking forward to reading what you think, and I will see you again next week, probably. Bye.